Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Phoenix Sports Podcast. Hit that like button. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Normally, this is where I would say the DJ Mac EP, but you rat bastards in Kansas City got your wish. Makayla Perkins, no longer employee of PHNX. So I am doing this alone, I guess. And if you're wondering why we leave an empty seat, it's in memoriam, because Mac was a great co-host, but you know, she pissed off the city of Kansas City, and now you get your
Psych! You can't get rid of me!
Psych, I lied. Mac?
I'm going nowhere! You can't get rid of me!
Oh, fuck you, losers.
Suck it, Kansas City. You thought wrong.
You're not getting rid of us.
You can't cancel us.
Something wrong to get rid of us.
Yeah, you'd actually have to do something bad, do something wrong. Nothing wrong was done, you know? A tweet was sent.
Like we care about the opinions of people in the Midwest.
Mid barbecue. Midwest.
It's mid for a reason. Okay, well, hold on. Don't do that to the barbecue. The barbecue is like their one redeeming quality. We know it's not the football fans, though.
In case you missed it and you don't know what we're referring to, I've been banned from the state of Missouri. Never allowed to step foot again in Kansas City.
Getting banned from Siberia, though. Why would you ever want to be in Kansas City in the first place?
It's not like I really ever want to go there anyways. We all know what happened to the Coyotes this week. A certain quarterback decided to troll the Coyotes, and I was like, meh. I decided to troll back, and I'm not sorry about it. All the people asking me to delete the tweet or looking for an apology, you're not going to get one because I'm not sorry, and I stand by what I said. So enjoy that. We're not going to talk too much about it, though, just because it is what it is.
Listen, I mean, I would be, it's tough being that insecure. It's tough being a city with only 2 sports teams.
Patrick, holy shit, she's still here. I absolutely love, by the way, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who was on my side, who are commenting the best things, who made memes for me. Like, you all are the realest. I love you all so much. Like, I cannot believe the amount of support that I got in either like DMs or just in public. Like, y'all went to war with me, and I will never ever take that for granted, or will I forget it. So shout out to Arizona sports fans. You guys are ride or dies, and I knew that, and I love it. I also want to say that not every fan of the football team in Kansas City is the worst. There were also a lot of great people that were also like, this is getting ridiculous. Let's not do this. So not all of you are terrible. I do appreciate some of you. But it just got so insane.
It was pretty crazy.
It got ridiculous. They were posting like people's numbers on the internet, which wasn't my boss's number, by the way. So like total flop on that end.
And even if it had been, like, we're still here.
I don't know if you guys know what this company is about or the point of what PHNX is, but we ride or die for our Arizona teams.
We've done worse too. Like, we have said worse about people.
Yeah,
I say fuck Utah like once a week.
Welcome to PHNX. Like, that's just what we do. But it got a little out of hand. They found my Facebook page that I hadn't posted on in like over a year.
Yeah, I think someone found
people
my
were
LinkedIn.
making TikToks about it. Like, y'all were triggered.
The funniest part was when we were showing up in like news articles and stuff.
Yeah, I was on the freaking front page of Fox News, baby. Like, it was a whole thing. And I just want to say you guys are soft. And you need to grow thicker skin. Welcome to the internet. If you're going to troll, I'm going to troll you back. So sorry, not sorry. But enough about the softest fans in the NFL. Let's talk about the NHL because we have a hockey team to talk about. And for now.
I'm just kidding.
No, not for now. It's going to be fine. It's all going to work out. Uncle Gary is going to pull through. Before we do that, though, we got to give a big thanks to our friends at Four Peaks. Boy, did I overindulge in some Four Peaks this week.
No, you didn't overindulge because you drank responsibly.
I drank responsibly. I needed the Four Peaks to get through the absolute shit show that was unfolding on Twitter. I will say I had a great time blocking all of the trolls because if you are going to be talking some crazy stuff, you're going to get blocked, and say what you want about that, but I don't have time to argue with misogynists or racists or generally terrible human beings. So thank you to Four Peaks for making that easier for me. Shawn?
I was drinking Four Peaks, celebrating. I was having fun.
It was great. It was a fun time. I was at the Hazy IPA. You guys all know that I love the Hazy IPA. The Wow Wheat is also exceptional. Four Peaks is just the best beer out there. They're also doing something really cool. One lucky winner is going to get 4 seats to an upcoming Diamondbacks game. The tickets come with D-Bucks, so you'll be able to grab some food, some ice cold Wow Wheat or Hop Knot. All you have to do to enter is go to their Instagram at Four Peaks Brew and use their link in their bio to sign up. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or at Four Peaks Pub on Twitter to keep up with the latest. At Arizona's hometown brewery, you must be 21 years or older to drink Four Peaks. Please drink responsibly. Also want to give a quick shout out to Burrito Express for bringing some amazingly delicious burritos into the office this week. Also shout out to Burrito Express for riding or dying on Twitter with me.
Gang. They didn't even know what you had said. They were just like, fuck it. If Max said it, we're riding.
We're riding. Burrito Express also a ride or die. I couldn't believe it. I was like, hell yeah, let's freaking go, Burrito Express. Kansas City might have barbecue, but we have the best burritos, and you can get them at Burrito Express. And I just can't believe what they did for me on Twitter. You guys are the best. They brought some burritos into the office. I once again had 4 salsas for my burrito because that is the bare minimum of salsas that you should be putting on your burrito. And no one judged me this week because I was getting judged enough.
I was going to say, people judge you, just not for the salsa.
So shout out to Burrito Express. You can go check out their locations, especially the one in Tempe, and you can grab a burrito there. Follow Burrito Express on Twitter at BurritoEXP. Shout out to you guys.
Also, shout out our boy Daniel pulling through in the office this morning, bringing us donuts. Also, shout out Shane for bringing us donuts too. But
I brought them first, Daniel.
He brought them first, but also, I mean, slightly less impressive when you just kind of do it on your way to work. Daniel went on his way, but I still appreciate you, Shane.
Can't argue that.
Big shout out to Daniel. It was great to come to Donuts. Thank you very much for doing that.
It's crazy.
Took a very nice elevator ride with Daniel. Daniel, incredibly tall.
Crazy
way
Mac.
Taller than I realized. Crazy. That's the one thing about like
still crazy to me.
That's one
crazy
thing.
Mac.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Didn't say thanks to me.
Didn't say thanks to Shane at all. It's really crazy. I don't even think Mac realizes that we are talking about her right now.
Mac probably ate one of my donuts that I brought.
Shout out Daniel for the donuts though. Very tall man.
Thank you. You guys are the best. Defending me on Twitter, bringing donuts to the office.
Please say thank you to me.
Yeah, literally. Say thank you to Shane.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Shane.
Do you know why you're saying thank you?
No. What is Shane talking about?
Oh, that is
totally. I was reading comments. You guys
crazy.
Zoned out. What happened? Shane?
He brought in donuts too.
Thank you, Shane. Oh my gosh.
Unreal.
All right, let's talk about the Coyotes conundrum because that is the talk of the town, obviously, for major reasons.
Let's talk of the country. Let's talk of North America.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's also in Canada. It's international because Canada's the worst. On Tuesday, as we all waited on bated breath to find out what the voters of Tempe would decide for the future of the Arizona Coyotes, we were absolutely heartbroken when the Coyotes didn't just lose, they lost big in the election on Propositions 301, 302, and 303, which was the Arizona Coyotes' proposal to build a brand new arena and entertainment district on the landfill that is just wasting space off of the 202 in Tempe. They lost by 12 points. So it wasn't like a small margin, like it was like they really, really lost. Yeah. And the people of Tempe really did not want the Coyotes to play there. Everyone was stunned. I was stunned.
Well, let's be careful about saying the people of Tempe. Well, the old
people
NIMBYs of Tempe did not want them, and they just so happen to be like the only ones that voted. So, but yeah. Regardless.
It wasn't great. Everyone was stunned. Javier Gutierrez, the CEO and president, was stunned. He didn't take any questions. He gave a super brief statement when the news first broke that the proposals had been rejected, and he left, which was a little concerning because through thick or thin, like hell or high water, at some point, someone from the Coyotes organization will say, we are committed to remaining in Arizona, whether that's just like take it at face value or whatever you want, but someone will say it, and nobody said it that day. So it was a little panicky watching him just leave without saying anything other than his brief statement and not taking any questions. When the news first broke, Shawn, what was your reaction to that?
I mean, it was obvious. Like, I mean, I feel like I was like a lot of people, or it was admittedly like very apocalyptic immediately. I was like, oh boy, like this team's gone. And obviously, like you heard some of the rumors that came out like almost immediately after, where it was like they might not even be here this season.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh boy, okay. like this is going to get really bad really fast. Like nothing I'd ever lived through before. Like I had never experienced a team that I very much cared about like this close to leaving town. I mean, obviously the football team I cheer for kind of got there, but it was never like this. Like I've never been through something like this. And obviously there's people who are so much deeper involved with the team than I am and have much more on the line with the team potentially moving than I am. So it was like, obviously it was like an emotional night. Like I was stunned. But I mean, I've calmed down a little bit since then, but as soon as it happened, like the first time I refreshed the polling site and I saw those numbers, it was just like,
yeah.
Like it was stunning.
Yeah, my heart fell through my stomach. I could not believe what I was seeing when the first batch of votes came through and they posted the results. I was just beside myself because I had gone into that day with such good feelings. Like I was like, there's no way that this will get shot down. Because
but I mean, you're like everyone else who was on the I guess losing side of this. Everyone seemed to think they were really confident coming to that day.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, I didn't see any reason to say no. The Coyotes were taking a spot that was literally a landfill. Zone in Arizona in the comments saying, glad they voted against it. I cherish a spot I can go to and blow off some steam by playing in toxic trash pits. Like, yeah, it was a landfill that the Coyotes were going to pay to clean up and then pay to build the arena. Like the owner was paying for everything. It was not going to be taxpayer funded at all. It was going to bring jobs to Tempe. There was going to be an entertainment district with businesses that people could, start a business in or bring their business to and boost the economy. There was so many upsides to this. And I think misinformation is the reason why it didn't happen, because on paper, I forget who said it, but it was the best deal in pro sports history, best arena deal in pro sports history. And so with knowing all that information and listening to the PHNX Coyotes crew for weeks, having former mayors, former city council members, current city council members.
And not having anyone from the opposition. Why? Because the opposition consistently avoided questions. They avoided ever putting a face to any of this.
Yeah.
Craig consistently tried to get them on the show and they always avoided it.
Yeah. So listening to what they had to say for weeks, I was like, holy cow, this is great. This is great for Tempe. This is great for Coyotes fans. This is great for we'll talk about this in a minute too, but ASU was involved with this or reported to be involved with this. So there were so many great things that were going to come out of this. And so when the news broke, I was just beside myself. I did not see that coming at all. Someone in the comments saying RIP, whichever political firm they used to track this, Aaron Lee saying that, they thought that they were going to blow this out of the water too. Their polling showed that they were ahead in every single proposition, up until that day. So I think shock is the only way to describe that.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, ultimately, ultimately, I think you look at the voters and stuff and you can get annoyed by all the NIMBYs and the old folk in Tempe. But ultimately, I think the Coyotes kind of dropped the ball here. They did not. Their strategy here was clearly quite flawed. Yeah. They didn't get the word out fast. It didn't seem like they reportedly did not invest as much financially into their campaign. Yeah. And it came back to cost them. But yeah, even then, obviously, like I said, I was just like everyone else, where there was a lot of confidence going into that night, and so it was certainly shocking when those numbers dropped.
My question for you is, where do you place the blame of this failing?
Yeah.
Do you think the Coyotes deserve to take it on the chin? Do you think it's just the opposition? Who do you blame?
There's obviously a lot of people you could blame here. Like I just said, I mean, I do think the Coyotes deserve a certain amount of blame because I think they dropped the ball in their strategy here. Again, waiting as long as they did to really kind of get the Tempe wins campaign going, and then apparently not spending as much as the no campaign did. Yeah. And if those two things are true, this was the biggest day in the franchise's history, one of the biggest things to ever happen. You kind of have to go all in that situation. And if they didn't, it just kind of seemed like there was a lot of inexperience and mistakes made. They were too confident, underestimated the opposition, underestimated the voters, whatever it was. So I think it starts with them. I'm not going to blame the old people. They are old and they got misinformed. Obviously the no campaign deserves a lot of the blame too, because they were lying to people.
Yeah.
I look at those two parties. It's obviously the two parties, the Yes campaign and the No campaign. But like the Yes campaign didn't do enough to give themselves really a fighting chance, and the No campaign were just a bunch of bad faith actors who lied to the people of Tempe and ultimately cost them something that I and a lot of people think would have been very beneficial to the city. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you said something that was really important there, and it's that the Coyotes leadership underestimated the feelings of the people of Tempe, the voters there, and then also didn't do enough to make sure that they understood the benefits of this. I think it's unfortunate, obviously, that they also didn't spend as much as the opposition campaign did, but you can't underestimate stuff like this. I think it's easy to, like I said, look at it on paper and say, this is a great deal. But if you have people in a city that maybe aren't sports fans, that are an older demographic, that aren't doing what they need to be informed on this, and you're also not doing what you need to do to get that information in their hands, like you're gonna lose. And that's what happened to the Coyotes. And I think they really underestimated them.
Yeah, you say it's a good deal on paper, but I mean, it clearly depends on what paper you're looking at, because like if you ask those other people, like they think it's a terrible deal on paper. Like you look at, like, you're giving all this money to them, like they were just obviously grossly misinformed. And but like I said, I think ultimately this starts with a lot of just miscalculations from the Coyotes. Like the idea that you were gonna, and we've talked about this on a few occasions, like the idea that you were ever gonna get ASU votes to like come out in mass and vote for this was never gonna happen. First off, they're not here.
They're not here. They're not. It's summer vacation.
But even if this was happening in February, like it wouldn't have mattered, because there's a lot of students who don't register to vote here.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I was still like I went to ASU and I was still registered to vote in Colorado.
Yeah, I did register to vote in Syracuse, where I was going to school undergrad, but a little different because I was already registered in New York. But whatever. But even then, like those people don't really go and vote outside of big elections, outside of really presidential elections. And also, they don't care. Like they were like, oh, this awesome arena that maybe ASU students would get to benefit from. Maybe, but not the ASU students that are at ASU right now. Like it's not like it's going to get done in 3 months. Like the majority of ASU students who would have been voting for it would have been gone by the time it was done anyways. So like it was, like I said, just a lot of, I feel like, miscalculations and misjudgments on behalf of the Coyotes that ultimately put them in this mess. And then the No campaign ultimately just being better at their job cost the Coyotes.
Yeah, Chris in the comments saying most of the Tempe voters probably didn't know how to use the internet. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, someone on Twitter had said this is the same city that built a retirement home on Mill Avenue, which is the bar avenue, and then
complained
sued about a bar that played live music that was there for years before the retirement home was even built.
Yeah,
RIP Shady Park, amazing place.
No RIP.
Yeah, not RIP.
Well, they're back. They were gone.
Well, they still can't throw concerts, but they're still there.
They're back, but they're not really back.
Ramen.
So knowing that this is the same city that did that, I guess we shouldn't have been surprised.
Gonna be that when we're older?
I hope not.
Like,
I'm gonna be at Shady Park when I'm 80. I'm not gonna be that horrible. I hope not, at least. Oh my God.
Like, I don't know, because
we're gonna have nothing better to do, guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like I want to sit here and be like, that's never gonna happen. But I also, like, I'm gonna be old, and I'm gonna be 80, and I'm gonna be like, I deserve this. Like, I deserve to have what I want. I've been living here.
I deserve to live in peace in my retirement home.
The gym. You didn't have to live through the pandemic. I've seen things.
Yeah, the old people also don't have OGs or.
I don't think, but we lived through the pandemic, so I don't think we're going to take it for granted, Like, we're going to live life to the fullest. We're going to be 80-year-old and at Shady Park.
Oh, we're not going to take it for granted.
Yeah, so that's
I don't know. I
mean,
like, you say that like these old folks haven't lived through things. Like, they haven't seen a thing or two.
Yeah, right? A couple world wars, maybe.
My grandma was born 4 months after Pearl Harbor. Like, I don't think she's getting like, oh, the pandemic. I'm not going to take life for granted anymore.
Yeah. Albert in the comments, definitely not doing enough to reach beyond their core constituency was a big flaw. For sure. My next question for you was going to be, why do you think the people of Tempe voted no? And before you answer, I want to say, I think a lot of it was misinformation. And I think as soon as you throw in the phrase tax cut for billionaires and you have people that don't care to know anymore other than they see tax cut for billionaires, that's going to be an automatic no, especially for the older demographic, because they tend to lean fiscally more like conservative. So tax cut for billionaires, like no. So I think that played a huge role in it. And I also think there was some misinformation about like tax cuts. Nobody was getting a tax cut. They were going to use a portion of the tax sales to pay back the billionaire that paid for the arena to like offset some of that cost.
And even if they were getting tax cuts, who gives a shit?
Yeah, who cares?
All company, PD kept banging this drum. All companies get tax breaks.
Yeah.
That's how this country works.
Everybody in the chat and everybody that voted for this is a gosh darn consumer. We are Americans and we love consuming.
Yeah,
Capitalism rules us.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who cares?
No, literally. Like,
who cares? I mean, Alex Murelo, who's the owner of the Coyotes, made a lot of his money through casinos and entertainment in Vegas.
That's another thing. Like, we're gonna choose now to start getting upset about billionaires. Like, you didn't want to wait
Alex
for the.
Murelo could probably build another casino.
The first billion he made, you were like, I don't really give a shit what he's up to.
Yeah.
But now at this point, you're like, down with the billionaires. Like, okay.
Yeah. So I just think when they saw a tax cut for billionaires and they confused the sales tax was going to, I think it was just an automatic no for them, which is a bummer because the PHNX Coyotes crew has done an amazing job of talking about this. So if you've missed any of their coverage, definitely go check it out. But the landfill is going to stay a landfill. Like, they're not building anything on it. And then eventually the people of Tempe are going to have to pay for them to clean the landfill up through tax dollars. So
Faisal's making a great point.
It all comes around. Like, Faisal saying... Faisal saying, what does he say? Point.
Just he's talking to someone else in the chat. It said he thinks that they thought the deal was so good that they thought it sold itself. And that 100%, like it's like you said, that people were so confident. They thought this was guaranteed. And honestly, like it probably should have been. It was a great deal. But you can't, like, listen, and I'm by no means getting political or making a statement on this, but you look at what happened in the 2016 election where a lot of people thought it was going to go one way and then it did not. Like, you can't take anything for granted when it comes to politics, especially local politics. Like, you just simply cannot do that. And it does seem like that's kind of what the Coyotes did.
Yeah. Loyal Sif saying Coyotes fumbled. Please scroll up. Coyotes fumbled super hard, not villainizing the No campaign being funded by California union laborers.
Oh my God, that's another thing. I was talking about this with Craig.
That's another point.
They were kind of being like, oh, this whole thing, like, oh, they're anti-union, they don't want to use union labor. Yeah, because the union labor they wanted to use was from a different state. Like, not the whole point of this, but one of the big selling points of the Coyotes with all this was that it was going to be good for Arizona economy, Arizona workers. And how are you going to do that when it gets built by people from California?
Yeah,
like. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that billionaire Alex Murelo is all for the working man and it's like all for the working class of the state of Arizona. But let's be real. Like, if your priorities are what they say they are, then actually like vote based off that.
Yeah.
I love this comment so much by Zone in Arizona. Old people single-handedly fund casinos at the slots and then clutch their pearls.
Yeah, right. That's the crazy thing. They're going to be like, no, I can't have this. I don't want this in my backyard, even though they're currently on vacation in Vegas at one of Morelo's casinos. Like, the billionaire's getting the money anyways, dog.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to say your name. TQ.
Just say TQ.
The same people who complain about tax cuts for billionaires do not care. We give billions in tax credits for electric cars for billionaire owners and billionaire dollar companies.
Well, again, like billionaires. And also, I got bad news for you. Murelo, still going to be a billionaire. Still making money off the state of Arizona. So, like...
although he is losing money quite quickly with the Coyotes playing in the arena.
The biggest thing I get from all of this that I think is hilarious is people are so quick to the number one thing is they don't want to be taken advantage of, regardless of whatever situation.
100%.
I can guarantee you, whatever you're doing in your life, going wherever you're going, you are getting taken advantage of.
Dude, this is the United States of America.
Everything.
Yes,
this is the United. There is not a person alive who is not, like, no one watching the show, no one in this building is not being taken advantage of by people with more money than them. That's just how this country works. So, like, and also, old folks, y'all get taken advantage of more than damn near anybody. Like, which is not like being like, oh, I mean, at this point, just roll over. Yeah. Like, just keep getting taken advantage of. But like,
you're not.
It's just like, my point is, it is really crazy. It's not crazy. I shouldn't be surprised, but ultimately I am surprised. Like, this is the moment that they choose to start, like, someone in the chat said, clutching their pearls.
They love to go fishing, but they also like getting fished. With a PH. Thank you. I'll be here all day long.
Thank you, producer Shane.
Very good point. Took me a second, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just a disappointment on all levels. I hoped that the Coyotes would invest more in making sure that this without beyond a shadow of a doubt was going to pass, because in my opinion, this was the best option for the Coyotes. I think Tempe was the most centrally located that they were possibly going to get. I think it was the best like age demographic community for them to be in, because hockey season is during college season, and how could you not want to be a hub with an entertainment district and an arena with the possibility of also letting the collegiate basketball team play there?
Yeah.
Like, it was going to be vibrant for that community. And I'm not going to lie, you guys, like, I am disappointed that the Coyotes didn't do everything in their power, whether it was outspending the opposition, getting people boots on the ground to like door-to-door campaign to like make sure those old people knew that this is a good thing. Like, I thought that they would take their situation a little bit more seriously and realize the absolute peril that they were in and say, we are going to stop at nothing to make sure that these three propositions pass, because this is the best that we're going to get. And I'm pretty sure that they really didn't have plan A, B, or B or C, because now they're on Twitter asking people where they should go next.
They're trolling on Twitter, which I absolutely love.
Yeah,
it is so much, because I mean, you're not putting out a poll. Actually, you know damn well that if you're asking people where to put the arena, everyone's going to say Scottsdale. Like, you're not actually putting it out there to get some kind of insight. But it is quite funny how they're trolling people.
I am really disappointed in the Coyotes, though.
Yeah,
like, I wish they would have done more.
Yeah, let's be real. There's a very good chance that this was doomed from the get, and they never had a chance of winning this. But you just hate that they didn't put in enough effort to the point where it was like beyond a shadow of a doubt that they put in enough effort. I would also make another very good point that I don't think this gets passed if there's not a hockey arena at the center of it. I just think that it is also people's attitude towards sports and giving stadiums to teams on taxpayer money, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, absolutely. If they would have pitched it as like, it's an entertainment district with more condos and businesses, they would have been like, great, we love it. But the fact that it had an arena in there, it was like, no, we hate it.
And Danny saying that ASU fans voted against it because they don't want basketball teams to leave campus. That's another thing that I want to make clear, that PD made clear a bunch on the Coyotes. Like, if you have good reasons based on truth to vote against this, or whatever your reasons are, like, I have no problem with how you, like, with you voting against it, whether it's something like that, whether it's about the traffic, whatever. But if it is just really unfortunate how many people seemingly voted based off misinformation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm disappointed in the Coyotes. I'm definitely disappointed that this thing didn't get passed, because now we are in just a gigantic state of limbo and continuing to get trolled online, which is annoying beyond all belief. But I think more than anything, and something that I really wanted to focus on before we move on to talking about what the next steps for the Coyotes are, is Coyotes fans just don't deserve this. I have been banging the drum of Coyotes fans deserve better for however long I've been living in the Valley, 7 years now, because I've seen the turmoil and just the absolute shit show, for a lack of a better word, that this organization has been through. And it had been happening even before I moved here. So I don't think it's really ever been an easy time for Coyotes fans. They say, sports are full of highs and lows. I think it's mostly been low for Coyotes fans. They don't have a Stanley Cup to show for it. They don't really have a lot of playoff success to show for it.
Why are you doing this to Coyotes? Why are you doing this to Coyotes?
But I'm just saying, the fan base, beside all the lows that they've been through, has steadfastly stood by this organization through all of it. And they get trolled online. They get told their team's going to get relocated all the time. They get told that there are only 3 Coyotes fans in the existence of the world. Like, they take all of it, and they're still so passionate about their team. And I have so much respect for Coyotes fans, because I think y'all are like, I genuinely don't know if I could do what you do. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We all know that I'm from Colorado. I'm sorry. I grew up a Rockies fan. I've checked out on the Rockies. I refuse to support them, watch a game, buy gear, go to the park until they get a new owner. And it's been just maybe like 5 years of really, really bad stuff for the Rockies. So the fact that Coyotes fans have been doing this for as long as they have, crazy to me. So the biggest props to you guys. And I feel for them so hard, because this felt like a light at the end of the tunnel. And as long as this got passed, it would have all been worth it because we finally got a new place to play. We got our arena and we're going to be fine. And I feel like the rug was pulled out from under their feet because that light at the end of the tunnel was taken away. And now they're back at square one where, yeah, the Coyotes are going to be here next season, but we don't have any solid plans about anything beyond that. And that's terrifying. And so I can't say enough good things about Coyotes fans. I'm sorry that this is what you have to endure, but props to you guys. And I genuinely think you deserve better. And I'm sorry you haven't gotten it. And God, I hope this team stays in the Valley.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that like this is by any means like a perfect situation out here. People don't show up to the games. Their stadium was far as hell for a while. Like, there's obviously problems out here, but I think the reality is that no sports fans deserve this. Like, except maybe Kansas City Chiefs fans. Like,
definitely Kansas City Chiefs fans.
And Edward in the chat saying that the Coyotes are a Mickey Mouse organization, like that's the thing that sucks the most. Is like the Coyotes themselves are not at all innocent in this, and the fans are still loyal. They don't deserve this, and I obviously am a much more recent import here, and like had a hockey team of my own that I rooted for. And still root for, but I have fallen in love with Coyotes in part, and I've talked about this on this show before, like in part because of how amazing and welcoming the Coyotes fan base has been. And it just, obviously this is like the real world, and this is all business, and things happen, and fans do lose their fan bases. Like the reality is there were fans in Winnipeg when their team moved here. But it just sucks to see. You just don't want anyone to have to go through something like that. I hope Kansas City fans get a team eventually. I hope Salt Lake. I hope Atlanta. I hope Houston gets teams eventually, but they can be expansion franchises.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that Coyotes fans felt the love because you guys deserve it. And I will continue and always to bang the Coyotes fans deserve better drum. I will never stop banging that drum until you guys actually get what you deserve. And I am a huge sports fan. I've grown up a huge sports fan. I've made a career out of sports, and I consider myself blessed to do that. And I know the emotion that goes into being a fan of a sports team, and the money and the time that you personally invest, and the identity that you create for yourself through that sports team. And to get so much hate for that is so bizarre to me. And I've never understood it because y'all are just living, like y'all are just out here riding and dying for your Coyotes team, and people like hate that. And I've never understood it. And you guys don't deserve anything that you have that's been going on. So it's wild to me. And like I said, more than anything, I hope this team stays in the Valley because I think hockey deserves to be in the desert. I think seeing the talent that's come out of here, Matthew Nyes, Austin Matthews, like that is something to hold on to. And also the youth hockey programs that the Coyotes have developed, all of that. Like this goes so much further than even just the NHL team on ice. So I hope the Coyotes stay, and I think they will. Yeah, I hope so too. You want to scroll back up to Chris? I just wanted to read Chris's comment saying, just want to say that I appreciate the coverage from PHNX. Y'all are great. I'm not a Yotes fan. Quack, quack, go Ducks. But I live here. All of this has hurt me as if I was a fan, hoping for positive news soon. Appreciate you, Chris.
Chris is a Ducks fan?
Yeah. Ducks and Sabres, right? He's from Western New York, but I know he does Ducks podcast.
Fantilli, man.
Ben in the comments saying...
sorry, bro.
You don't have to look any further than Shane Doan. He didn't give up, and neither will we. Yeah, I mean, geez. Talk about a ride or die. Shane Doan is a ride or die for sure.
You don't have to look any further than Shane Deef, too.
Tark memes in the comments saying, I am banking on the social media stuff being a foreshadow that there was a secret plan B, and this is all that is full-fledged. Why would they be so bold right now if not? We will talk about that in a minute. So stay tuned for that. Speaking of the Coyotes social team, actually, let's talk about OGs first.
Dude, this last week has been sponsored by OGs.
I need an OGs, man. I need to calm down.
Oh my God.
I need to chill out from all of the crazy stuff that's been happening with the Coyotes and on the internet this week. And there's no better way to do it than taking the OGs Happy Balance gummy, because it is not only delicious because it's strawberries and cream flavored, but it also has a 1-to-1 CBD to THC ratio. And I think I need a little Happy Balance in my life. It's been a little dark.
I need a sleepy time. Wake me up when the stadium's built. I'm trying to make a September ends joke, but I couldn't
don't wake me up when September ends. Wake me up when the stadium is built. Yeah, I agree. They also have mixed bags now, which is awesome because they've combined their fruit flavored gummies and their cream flavored gummies in one bag, which is so lit. You absolutely love to see it. So if you want to pick up some OGs, you can find them at your local dispensary at ogsbrands.com. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Chris saying, "Oh no, we like Mac fired up." Man, if I would have taken an OGs, we might have been avoiding some of these issues.
I like the other Chris's message. Could hear the disgust in Shane's. Chris is a Ducks fan. My apologies.
No.
It's just fun.
I didn't know you were a Ducks fan, and I wanted to say congratulations on Fantilli. That's all.
Donnell in the comments saying, as a diehard New York sports fan that watches hockey in New York metropolitan area, tri-state area, Rangers, Islanders, Devils, I feel for the Coyotes and I hope they stay in Arizona. They get so much hate. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I will say there are other fans of other hockey teams that have been great. I'm not trying to make sweeping generalizations, but
and also, like you said, a lot of Kansas City fans didn't. There was a lot of nice Kansas City fans who just, we kind of poked the bear a little bit,
but it's not that deep. Go touch some grass and then kick rocks. Talking about the Coyotes getting a lot of crap on the internet went insane after the proposals got shot down. There were memes being made. There were jokes being made at the expense of Coyotes fans. There was even a sports book that posted odds for you to bet on. This is real. You can actually put money on this. We won't name the sports book because they're not a good sports book. If you want to bet, go to BetMGM. But they did post the odds for you to bet on. They have Houston with the early favorite at plus 150. The city that shall not be named is the next at plus 450. And then Toronto, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Quebec, and whatever the field is.
The field is just any other city. First off, can I just say, if BetMGM happens to give these odds, they're going to stay here, I think. If not, they're not going to Houston.
Yeah, they're not going to Houston.
Bet the field.
Also, the Arizona Coyotes, shout out to the social media team. They quote tweeted this and with the popcorn Michael Jackson meme.
Glad you know who that is.
I love what the social media team is doing. Yeah, I know you said we were going to talk about that, so let's talk about it because I think it's iconic.
It is.
Real quick, these are hypothetical odds. You can't actually bet on these anyway.
Yeah, I figured.
Oh, well, I thought they were real. Anyways.
That would have been the craziest thing. Like the craziest bet I've ever seen anyone offer.
Wacky. Awesome. I love what the social media team at the Coyotes are doing. All that happens to the Coyotes is getting trolled, and now they're trolling back.
Yeah,
and
they're just leaning into it. And also, like, what else are you supposed to do? You want to sit here and feel sorry for yourselves for a situation that you kind of got yourself into also? Like, and I feel bad for the poor social media employees that have to see all this, but whatever. And I know someone asked, do you think they have like a full-fledged plan B? No, not necessarily. Not like it's certainly not a full-fledged plan B.
Definitely not a full-fledged plan.
But I don't think this is like referencing that they have something that they're not telling us. Like I don't think they actually have some arena plans they're going to reveal at 20,000 likes. Like I literally think they're just like, listen, we've become the butt of the joke for everybody. So why not make the jokes ourselves? Like, why not just have fun with it? And I love it. I don't think there's any other way you could really go about something like this.
If you're going to clown us, we're going to clown you back. And I love that theory or that ideology. In case you've missed it, the Coyotes team has been on a bender ever since this happened. They posted a poll asking their fans where they want to see them go next, which the internet hated. They're posting memes. They're making a joke out of it. And honestly, I'm here for it. Like I said, if you guys are going to clown, we're going to clown back. And I think that's the mentality of the team right now. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are like, this is not great for business. Like, can we not do this? But I love it. So good for them.
Yeah.
All right. Shout out to the social media team at the Coyotes. Let's talk about a quick other sporting experience before we talk about relocation or spots in the valley. Someone in the comments asking if Mesa is an option. We are about to talk about that. But before we do that, we got to give a shout out to our friends at Game Time because they are the absolute best last minute ticketing app on the face of the planet. I personally use Game Time all the time. I've used it to get concert tickets. I've used it to get Diamondbacks tickets. I've used it to get parking passes for a Cardinals game. If you want to do something in the Valley that requires a ticket, you have to use Game Time to get your tickets because they are so cheap. It's actually crazy how cheap the tickets on Game Time are. There's obviously a clear reason why they are the fastest growing ticketing app in the country. My favorite thing about Game Time, I think, Shawn, is the fact that they make tickets affordable. And I think affordability is a huge thing, especially if you like have family and you're paying for 4 of you.
That's literally how I get the tickets for my D-backs games all the time.
Yeah. So they have this section on their website. It's tickets under $50. And they already have 3 great sporting events coming up on their website right now. If you want to show that, Shane. They have a Mercury game. They have UCLA baseball at Arizona State. If you are in a baseball mood.
Did you see how last night's game ended? Banger.
Walk off. Shout out to Keyshaw. Absolute electric factory. So they have UCLA baseball at Arizona State. It's the last time you can see Arizona State baseball this season outside of the Pac-12 tournament. They also have the Rattlers game. They have a Phoenix Mercury game. And those ticket prices are crazy. $11, $18, $25. So if you are looking for something to take your family to, or even if you just want to catch a game by yourself or maybe with a friend, spouse, partner, definitely head over to Game Time and check them out. If you download the Game Time app, you can create an account and use promo code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
Should I just say, if you've never been to an indoor arena football game, absolute electric factory of a sporting experience. Like it's awesome. Just dudes getting checked over the boards in a football game. Like it's the excitement of it's football and hockey combined. It's the excitement of football compacted into a hockey rink, essentially.
Yeah,
it is awesome.
It's super sick.
Also,
the cannon though, beware. If they score, they shoot off a cannon, and I know it's coming, and it still scares the crap out of me. I flinch every single time, even though I know there's a cannon and I know it goes off every time they score. It gets me every time.
And I know a lot of Arizona fans get pretty sad about the state of Arizona sports. The Rattlers are like kind of an absolute fucking wagon. Like all they do is win. I think they've been in the championship like 3 straight years, something like that. Yeah, so you want to see good Arizona sports, them and the Mercury. Pretty good at their jobs.
Yeah, turning it around. All right. So after Javier left the party for the election night, we hadn't heard from the Coyotes in what was going on like more than 24 hours. And I think everyone was extra unsettled by that because, like I said, no matter what happens, hell or high water, someone is always there from the team to say, we're committed to staying in Arizona. Mm-hmm. And nobody said that this time around. So everyone was a little bit panicked. But then we finally heard from them. They posted a statement that says, during the 2023-24 season, the Arizona Coyotes will play at Mullet Arena. In addition, we remain committed to Arizona and have already started re-engaging with local official and state to solidify a new permanent home in the Valley. We look forward to sharing more with you in the coming weeks. Sincerely, Javier Gutierrez, President and CEO. How did that statement make you feel, Shawn?
I mean, good in the sense that it confirmed that they were staying. Like, obviously, I mentioned earlier there were rumors that they might be leaving this summer, so it confirmed that they were going to at least be here for another year. The rest of it is whatever. Like, I mean, what else are you supposed to say? I don't think like. They obviously were never like, that's the spot I want. I want the arena right there. That's where we're going to go. We're not going to look anywhere else. Like they've looked at other places before. This has been a process. So they have an idea of, they're not starting from square one. They have an idea of other possible locations, other possible people, entities they could work with. So the statement is exactly what it needed to be. They confirmed that they were here, which I think was everyone's most immediate pressing concern. They agreed that they were, or then they made it clear that they're committed to staying here and they're trying to find other places, which is literally the 2 things that everyone needed to hear. The only 2 things that you could really tell Coyotes fans at this point that could give them any rest is that they're still trying to play here and that they will be here at least another season. So there's time.
Yeah, I was really happy with the statement starting off with, we are going to be here in 2023 and 2024. Because when the news first broke that the proposition was shot down, I was doomsday. I was full doomsday. I was like, that's it. Like my first gut initial reaction, which might have been an overreaction, hindsight 2020, was this is it. Like we just lost the Coyotes.
But I think there was a lot of people's reaction.
And it was really tough sitting there, like watching Leah talk about it on the live PHNX Coyote show. My heart broke for her. I was heartbroken because my first thought was that's it. Like that was their last shot at staying in Arizona. And I just watched in real time us losing our NHL team here in the Valley. So when they posted that statement that said, we're going to be here for another season, it made me definitely feel better because at least we had postponed any type of possible relocation for a season and we can have another year of watching them play hockey here. So I'm glad it led with that. And then I was also super glad that it was followed up with, we are looking for other options. At first, when they said we're looking for other options, I was like, okay, they're just saying that to placate everyone. Like, are they really looking for other options? But now, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the show, there have been like officials from other cities that have come forward and said, we're going to talk with the Coyotes. There have been linked to other possibilities, like other places for them to go. So I do feel a little bit better about the possibility of them staying here. And I think them committing to playing at Mullet Arena for the next season gives them time to find another option. For those of you that don't know, they have 2 more guaranteed seasons at Mullet Arena with an option for a third. They've already spent 1 year there. So the original deal was 3 guaranteed years with an option for a fourth. So obviously.
And something that Krebs pointed out a bunch is that at this point, like obviously they've kind of lost a year, but at this point, almost nowhere else they would go, they would have to clean up land so they can get shovels in the ground almost immediately, much quicker. So it kind of moves that timeline up.
Yeah, so I think it definitely puts some pressure on them. Obviously, the best plan and the best option for them just got voted no on. So they've got to kick it into high gear, and they really have to make sure to not mess it. Like they couldn't mess the last one up, but they did. So now it's like absolutely no room for failure time. Like,
and ultimately, also, like you said, it's the best option. And obviously, it seems like it, but you don't know. Like maybe ultimately, we could be sitting here 5-10 years from now and being like, "Hey, remember when they almost had that arena, like on that garbage dump?
Yeah, we could be laughing at this
past
in 10
the
years.
Water. Like they weren't even going to be waterfront in Tempe." And now they are wherever they end up being. Like if they could do something crazy, maybe they get a floating arena floating above downtown. Like that'd be a vibe. And then who would have wanted an arena in Tempe?
Yeah,
right. Floating arena,
ISS arena, get a space arena,
dude.
Space hockey, space yotes,
mountain arena,
volcano arena.
Obviously,
underwater
so we don't.
arena.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm done.
We don't know for sure what's going to happen. They could just be blowing smoke and saying, we're committed to finding another place, and they could be gone. Mr. Otter Pockets in the comments saying the Atlanta Thrashers were staying until they weren't in Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's by no means clear.
And, Brandon is in the comments too. He's a fan. As someone who's experienced my sports teams being relocated, the Nordiques and the Expos, I hope the Coyotes organization can do right by their fans and find a solution to stay.
We've seen teams quite literally move like in the middle of the night before, very suddenly.
Pack their bags and get out. So I'm not going to sit here and tell Coyotes fans this team is going to stay because I don't know that. I genuinely don't know if they are going to stay or not. Even though their statement says we're committed to finding a place, that might not be possible. There might not be another solution. I don't want to get that far ahead of myself yet because we still have some time the organization still has time to figure things out. But more than anything, I hope that this time around, they don't underestimate the public if that's what it comes to. They don't underestimate city council officials. Whatever it is, I just hope that this time they understand the gravity of their situation. And I see visible evidence of them doing everything in their power to keep this team in the valley because that's what Alex Murelo said he was going to do. And by God, if he doesn't stand by that, I am going to be so upset because, again, the Coyotes fans don't deserve to lose this team. And I need to see like visible evidence of them understanding the gravity of their situation and doing everything in their power to make sure this team does not move.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily have like a problem with Alex Murelo, but I'm never going to trust a billionaire. Like obviously I'm pro with Coyotes, but like you said, until they are playing and they knew it, like shovels in the ground doesn't mean anything to me. You go to Tempe.
Even there's a half. Like, what if they get shovels in the ground in the rebuild? Like they run out of funds and they're like, sorry, we can't build it anymore.
There's a half-built building that we talk about all the time in Tempe that's right there. That's not going to be like there's. I think we are at a point where there's much more hope than there was in the immediate aftermath of the vote, but by no means are we in a good place. Like, are we comfortable?
Until my butt is in the new arena, sitting there on opening night, watching the Coyotes skate out on the ice, I am not going to feel comfortable at any point until that happens. It's just going to be just sitting on pins and needles until we find out what happens to this team. Connor in the comments reading my mind saying Scottsdale time by Talking Stick. So we're going to talk about some of the options that we think the Coyotes have. And one of the ones that I'm the most excited to talk about is the fact that there is a possibility that Talking Stick reservation and the tribe there is interested in having the Coyotes there. Obviously, there hasn't been any official statements made. We don't know this for sure. There's just been rumors that it's there's possibilities of having the Coyotes go up to Talking Stick. And it also just so happens that the Diamondbacks lease at Chase Field ends in 2027 permanently. I don't know what their opt-out situation is. I do know that Derek Hall has talked about, if we don't get the budget to renovate, we're going to look at other options. And the fact that the Diamondbacks have a very successful relationship with Salt River because their spring training facility is there, it kind of seems like if in a perfect ideal world, having an entertainment district with a place for the Diamondbacks to play and a place for the Coyotes to play would be an unreal situation, don't you think?
It's obviously there's a lot to figure out with like gaming and stuff like that, because obviously Murelo is pretty involved in gaming in his own right. But yeah, I mean, like I am of the opinion that every stadium for every sports team ever should be in the downtown of their metro area.
I agree.
Like it is ridiculous. I hate that I can't walk to Coyotes games or Cardinals. Obviously, I understand that like football and hockey or football and baseball are a little more difficult. You need more land for those. But but regardless, like having all of them together would be very, very awesome. It would be, and obviously, like. The Suns and Coyotes have had a very interesting relationship, but obviously the Suns have a new owner. So like there's possibility of that. There's obviously possibilities. Them going to the res, them would be cool, but I want them as close to downtown, as close to our office as possible.
Yeah, I also want them as close to downtown as possible, which is why I was so jazzed about the Tempe location, because it was like right on the border of Tempe and Phoenix. And if they were going to go anywhere, that was probably, like, again, I said earlier, the most central location and the closest to downtown, which is why I'm so mad that they didn't work out. But okay, it's done the deal is done. We can't do anything about it. So we're just going to let that Tempe place rest and let them enjoy their dump site. So now that that's off the table, I think I would prefer them to be close to another team. Like, I hate the fact that now I have to just drive out to Glendale to watch the Cardinals play. Like,
I wish the previous owner of the Suns, who should not be named, hadn't sabotaged what is it called now? Footprint. I was barely even here for it being called Talking Stick. I don't know why I did that. Oh, I guess because we were just talking about it. But like, I wish you could still put a rink in there because that would have been a vibe. But hey.
I'm gonna reaper the reservation talk. It would take too long. The negotiations for anything to get done on reservations here just moves at a snail's pace. The gaming stuff is complicated, and I don't want them to do that because then they can get stuck in the same situation they're in right now, and it would take too long. That's my opinion. I think that would just really scare me.
I just think there's so many like upsides to it.
There is for
like
sure.
Jeff in the comments. Hi Jeff, by the way. Lots of land ready to be built on over there. Good access good highway access.
That is the dream scenario.
There is
to build
if they can figure it out.
That is the dream scenario for sure. But it's just sports gambling here being legal. Everything takes so damn long.
This might be a little bit of a stretch, so nobody come for me when I say this, but I think a lot of the negativity that happened with the Coyotes coming to Tempe were the negative feelings surrounding the ownership's inability to pay bills on time, to make good on their word, to follow through on contracts. So I think their reputation preceded them a little bit, and people were a little nervous, like, oh my God, if something happens and the owner defaults, like, are we on the hook? Like, again, with the misinformation happening because people didn't understand fully, that they had built into the agreement a foolproof plan for the city of Tempe to be protected from anything like that. So I think, unfortunately, the Coyotes' reputation has been sullied a little bit in that way, and the Diamondbacks don't have that problem. Salt River loves the Diamondbacks. Their relationship with the tribe and their spring training facility is great. Their spring training facility has been voted like the best spring training facility in Arizona for many years in a row, and there are how many of them here in Arizona? So the Diamondbacks don't have the reputation problem, and I think it would be a dream scenario for the Coyotes to be able to piggyback with the Diamondbacks a little bit and be like, hey, take us with you. Like, I mean, everything's great.
To be completely honest, I'm on Albert's side. Like, I am anti being on the res. I don't think it's like an ideal situation. I don't like the kind of control that they have over, like, I mean, from my understanding, part of the reason that we didn't have Dollar Beer Night at the Rising games was because they were on reservation land. Like, I don't know. I just am not like a huge fan of that. And I also want them downtown. But still, like, I'd rather them be in Yuma than in another state. So I'm not going to complain if they end up on the res. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, another solution that people have kind of thrown out there is sharing footprint center with the Suns.
That's not possible.
Unfortunately, that is not possible.
But
Matt Ishbia would have to own the Coyotes for the Coyotes to see any type of positive revenue return, because they can't get naming rights to the arena. They can't have, as many, or I don't know if at all, any revenue from concessions.
And also, like I mentioned, footprint literally cannot have
it hasn't been built.
rink.
It hasn't been built to be a hockey arena. Someone in the comments actually said, I went to a game when it was America West Arena and sat in the obscure seat. It was not good.
I don't think that is the problem anymore, because they renovated the seats. The problem is that literally they cannot support, they don't have the structures to have ice in like an NHL ice sheet in that arena because of the way that it was renovated.
Yeah.
That's how at least I understand it.
So a lot of people were saying that might be a solution, but unfortunately it's not an option. One option, though, that has come out as of today, like a big news story, I guess, is the fact that Fiesta Mall in Mesa might be a potential solution. Dennis Welch from Arizona's Family tweeted yesterday, Mesa officials tell me that the Arizona Coyotes have reached out yesterday following their loss in Tempe. The team is eyeing the Fiesta Mall site, prime land in the East Valley's largest city. Caution, any potential arena deal there could require another public vote, to which Craig Morgan, our very own Craig Morgan, quote tweeted and said he heard the same thing yesterday. Fiesta Mall was one of the several sites that he mentioned as a possibility in his story the morning after the Tempe vote. I think the Coyotes would be looking at as many 5 to 6 sites. However, if you haven't read Craig Morgan's article yet, please head over to gophnx.com and read it now. It's free. It's unlocked. He beautifully lays out all of the options that the Coyotes have for staying in the Valley, and it's a really amazing article, so go check it out. But the Fiesta Mall in Mesa.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you think about that one?
Well, the end of the original tweet, the public vote part, is concerning. I don't want them to have to go through that again.
I'm so scared of the public vote.
But from a pure location standpoint, hell yeah. Relatively easy access, not too much further. Obviously a little further, but not too much further than where the TED would have been. So yeah, I mean, I think it's probably outside of, again, a downtown location somewhere. Probably the best option that they have on the table, if I had to guess. Quick sidebar, my dream situation is that they partner with the city of Phoenix. They tear down the Madhouse and McDowell, and then they build an entire entertainment complex around the state fairgrounds, and then they go full-blown Red River rivalry, and they have like sporting events during the state fair there, where they have the hockey, basketball, and baseball arenas. Like, that shit would be a whole ass vibe, and you'd be in the actual city. But that's my dream scenario.
Well, you're getting ahead of me, because I was going to ask you that question.
Well, I have more, don't worry.
So going back to the Fiesta Mall option, though, because this is kind of, I guess, emerged as the front runner.
Jesus Christ.
What?
So in Arizona, I'll vote yes as long as they put a Rainforest Cafe in there. Turn me
in the
up.
arena. In the arena, somebody mentioned it earlier. We need a Timmy's in there, because I know there used to be a Tim's in Gila River back in the day, back when they had Canadian owners.
Tiny though.
Yeah, but it was
still.
Also, I have to answer it because I forgot to earlier. Chris asked if I'd ever been to a Buffalo Destroyers game. Yes, I have. That's why I love indoor football.
Okay, so going back to the Fiesta Mall option, because it's emerged as the front runner, Joey Artigue posted a interesting graphic that kind of outlines the pros and cons of what the Fiesta Mall and Mesa site would be like. Obviously, the population is much larger than that of Glendale, so that kind of hopefully lends people to believe that higher attended games, easily accessible, more people, more ticket sales. The size is considerably smaller, obviously, in acres. The distance to Sky Harbor is way less, almost by half. Distance to downtown Phoenix, obviously, it's a little bit closer than Glendale. And then there are 2 major freeways that connect there instead of just one. So transportation would be a little bit easier for people. And the people just talking about the Fiesta Mall as a possibility, it seems like they're really excited about it. I don't fully know if that is my ideal situation, but the Fiesta Mall is just like an empty mall, right?
As far as I know.
Like, it's just a deserted mall.
It's been deserted for, like 5-10 years?
So,
it's been a minute.
Great use of knocking down an absolute pointless building that is serving no purpose currently.
But ultimately, that doesn't mean shit.
I know. You can't make that argument. You cannot make that argument.
If anything, it's even worse because people have emotional attachments to malls.
I want to stay away from Fiesta Mall. I want to stay away because if there's any. They would almost have to.
Listen,
go to a vote.
if Deborah,
for sure they would have to go to a vote.
If Deborah has a choice, like Deborah from down the street has a voice, an opinion in this, I don't want it. It's not a good option for me. I don't want citizens.
Deborah from down
I don't
the
want citizens to have a voice. I'm sorry.
Deborah and Lenny are going to shut this down. So
I don't.
fast.
I am anti-democracy in this situation. I don't want the citizens to have a voice. Just get it done.
Yeah, the thing that scares me the most about all of that is the public vote. Again, I cannot sit through another situation that we sat through already with the city of Tempe. That scares me more than anything because, like you said, I don't have faith in anyone being able to pass that vote, especially when an arena is at the center of the conversation. Yeah, what was that reaction?
Just USC's athletic director resigned.
Okay,
random.
So yeah, I don't know if I necessarily think Fiesta Mall is the best situation. It scares me. I'm so over the public vote. I'm so over a bunch
that's why you tear it down.
I'm so over a bunch of 60-plus-year-olds having decisions that they shouldn't have decisions over. Sorry, Deborah down the street. You really shouldn't be voting. Just kidding. Everyone has their liberties to vote. Anti-democracy, actually. Just kidding.
No, I mean, I just said that
so out of context. Chris saying I can see Deborah's haircut. Connor, come on, Debbie. Yeah, Debbie really ruined it for us. I'm salty about that. I had to stop talking about it. It's
Kurt
done.
and Deborah.
So yeah, can we just stay away from public votes, please? My next question for you kind of already answered, is what is your dream scenario? Yeah,
I mean, like I said, that being on the fairground would be awesome. I don't think that's hella realistic. My dream scenario, honestly, is that Matt Ishbia buys the Sun. So again, nothing against Murelo. I get, and I'm sorry, but this is a very unique situation. So I would say this was the most apropos time for me to bring up my hometown.
Wow,
ever.
That was a word.
Yeah, I feel like I use it probably more than I should.
Yeah, I think you overuse apropos.
I might, but it fit in this situation. I just love having my two franchises owned by the same person, which happens in Buffalo. The Pagulas own the Bills, Sabres, and our indoor lacrosse team, the Buffalo Bandits, who are competing in the championship, I think. But it's just cool. There's like such a sense of unity and like cooperation between the franchises that I think it's just like a really cool thing. And obviously the Suns are the one franchise, or not the one, but like the franchise that the Coyotes have had a pretty bad relationship with, probably had the worst relationship with over the last couple of decades. So having that kind of be fixed by having one person own both of them would be awesome. And then Ishbia can maybe work on getting a new arena, hopefully downtown, that both of them can play in. And then all of my dreams would be happy. You'd have all the teams in the same area. You'd have one guy own both teams, and you'd have a downtown arena. And obviously, the Suns
would build a new stadium.
Yeah, why not?
For themselves.
Yeah,
that's dream.
I think that's a good one. Can you walk me through your Madhouse Looking Down thing again?
Oh, I mean, I just think it would be cool. I don't know though how big the fairgrounds are. I've only been there once. No, you're straight. Saul's shaking his head. He doesn't know what my idea is though. My idea is you tear down the Madhouse in McDowell and you build an entertainment complex around the fairgrounds, because the fairgrounds here are shitty. They're just not very nice. If you renovate that, you get a more state benefit from it, because the state fairgrounds is like a big thing, whatever. And then you have your entire entertainment complex there, and then you go like Red River Rivalry on them, and you have like you have big games on the fairgrounds around the state fair. That'd be dope. But obviously, it doesn't really work for hockey, but it works for baseball, really only, I guess, because the state fair's in September. But
yeah,
I just think that would be dope. Like I think having it around the state fair there would be cool. It'd be pretty close to downtown, not far from the airport, and again, it would be actually in Phoenix, which is another thing I really like. Your Phoenix Suns to be playing in Phoenix, or your Buffalo Bills to be playing in Buffalo and not Orchard Park, New York.
I also am a huge component of all of your major sports teams being in the downtown area. I'm very fortunate to have grown up in a city where that was the case, and I've seen just the vibrant sports community that has been built around having that many options of sporting events in one place. So my ideal scenario is, hear me out here. I always get nervous starting out with hear me out because it's been turned into such a meme. But my ideal situation would be for the Diamondbacks to renovate Chase Field, make Chase Field beautiful, and stay in Chase Field. And then there does so happen to be land available.
Yep. That's I was thinking that also. Yeah,
land available. There is a lot of land. Well, not a lot, but enough to build a hockey arena
just south
of where the Diamondbacks are.
Because it was something that I believe was a possibility of a new Diamondback stadium, right?
So the Diamondbacks were looking at this land that is south of where they are now.
All just like warehouses and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like they probably have to do some demolition and resurfacing, whatever. But the Diamondbacks are looking at building a new arena in that spot. So my ideal situation would be for the Diamondbacks to get a ton of money to renovate Chase Field, make it beautiful, wonderful, everything that they need. And then that spot of land that they were looking at could be possibly the place where the Coyotes arena goes. I
love that.
And I think that would be amazing to have the Coyotes, the Suns, and the Diamondbacks all in one place. Again, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, guys. I went to school for sports. I did not go to school for politics. I don't know if it would require a vote, if the public had any say in that or not.
I mean, I don't think it would, because technically speaking, like the Tempe one never required a public vote. That was just the route that they chose to go because they thought they would there would be too many legal ramifications, lawsuits and stuff like that. Chris saying, what would the airport say, though, jokingly?
I think the airport has learned its lesson.
Well, no. But I think a part of like the kind of conspiracy around the airport is that ultimately Phoenix didn't want Tempe to steal this kind of business from them, essentially, having another concert venue there, another sports venue there. Obviously, that's not a problem if it's just in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. You probably would have less opposition. And there is land there, like you said.
The Tempe one didn't require a vote, but they sent it to referendum because it would have been pushed to a vote regardless, and then the vote would have been in August and not.
Yeah, because I think like the amount of Lee was talking about this the other day. The amount of signatures that they would have needed to oppose it were like very low, so they would have easily gotten it, and then it would have pushed everything back. It would have been more. I don't know.
Brian saying Chase Field was taxpayer funded. That won't happen again. I'm not saying that. I think the owner of the Coyotes needs to pay for the arena. So I don't think the Coyotes would ever go taxpayer route anyway. They have a billionaire owner that is willing to build them arena. So I think they're going to stick with that route.
And it'll be very interesting to see, not just with this one, but I guess stadium deals forever. Because someone mentioned it in the chat. You see it in Calgary and in Buffalo, where those municipalities are giving over a lot of money, a lot of taxpayer money for new facilities. Very interested to see how, if at all, this Tempe deal, which, like you mentioned earlier, might be the most favorable arena deal ever, if that kind of changes how arena deals are done in the future.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a different situation. Tempe had a different kind of leverage with the landfill there, and the desperation of the situation. But still, it'll be interesting to see how that changes things.
Albert asking, does there need to be land for entertainment district to make the deal work? Because if so, that limits the options. I don't believe so. I think the reason why, and this is just based off of rumors, speculation. I'm not saying that I'm speaking for anybody. I think the reason why the Coyotes wanted to build an entertainment district around the arena in Tempe is because that wasn't a big hub of activity in that specific spot. There weren't a lot of restaurants, like in walking distance specifically. Like, yes, there's Mill, but that would require Uber, like driving, parking, whatever. So the Coyotes wanted the entertainment district because there wasn't anything in walking distance in that specific area that was like restaurants, whatever else you want to consider in an entertainment district. So if they go to that spot in downtown, let's say, I don't think they need to build an entertainment district because there's downtown is right there. There's so much to do.
Well, and I also think part of it is like Alex Murelo is not a hockey guy. Like, he is a real estate business developer,
and he was going to make more money off of the condos and the businesses that would rent out from him. So I think it was just like additional revenue streams for him. So I guess it also says a lot about who he is as an owner, because if he cares more about having additional revenue streams through an entertainment district and condos and also having an arena, and he's not willing to ditch that to just build an arena and wait patiently for the revenue to return from just having an arena, then I think that also says about
that's not how business works. BYU Dojo saying it in the chat, like, especially with like the kind of the concessions they were making, the lack of tax breaks, the money to pay up to clean the land, like they kind of needed to do it to pay for the arena. But I think part of the thing is too, though, is that if they're downtown, I don't see a scenario in which they're downtown and Murelo still owns them, because they're not building a second arena downtown. I think that would only happen if both teams were playing there, and like it was kind of mentioned earlier, I think you would need one person to own both those teams for that to happen. But I will also say, someone mentioned it, the thing in between
parking garage.
The parking garage. Tear that shit down. That'd be a vibe. Build a new stadium right there. Put them
Build
right
a new
next to each other.
Either way, whatever happens to the Coyotes, I think the only option is for them to stay in Arizona. Suck it, Houston. Suck it, Canada. Suck it, any team else.
Also, the NHL doesn't want to do that. They want the
NHL wants the Coyotes to be here.
No. Well, not. I mean, yeah, but also they don't want a team to move there. They want the expansion fees.
Yes, they make more money off expansion teams than they do relocation,
which you would get a lot of money from if you did in Houston or Atlanta. Just saying.
Yeah. So whatever happens, I hope the Coyotes stay. I will be waiting on bated breath until we find out for sure what happens to them because they deserve to stay. The Coyotes fans deserve them to stay. And hockey in Arizona is a thing and should be a thing for the foreseeable future. Shawn, tell us about Manscaped and take us out of here.
Oh my God, there's a lot of losers on the internet. A lot of people with nothing better to do. I've got something for you to do. Shave your balls. Fucking literally touch grass and shave your balls. And if you're going to, do it with our friends over at Manscaped. They are the best in men's grooming. Lawnmower 4.0. For you to shave your balls, waterless. It is waterless, waterproof, and cordless body trimmer. They have their Weed Whacker 2.0 for your long ass nose hairs, which you've been spending so much time on the internet. You probably have long ass nose hairs because you haven't looked in the mirror recently. They got it all over at Manscaped. They're the best. And if you want to check them out, head over to manscaped.com and use code PHNX to get 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code PHNX at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles.
All right, there you have it. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of the Phoenix Sports Podcast. I said at the beginning, but I said it, I'll say it again. You guys are the absolute best. I love you all, Arizona sports fans, so freaking much. My ride or dies forever. You guys are the greatest. Don't forget, we will be live again next Friday at 12:30, and we will see you then. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We love you all so much, and suck it, Kansas City. Bye.